Hi, it's David O here in chilly Karmi'El. Let me tell you, today I went to get my Friday Jerusalem Post. It's a big news source for me each week. And I went to the news guy and I said, it's cold. And he said, yeah, well, you know, you're from Canada, it shouldn't bother you. And I said, no, this is too cold. It's very cold. I said, yesterday my wife came to me. I was putting my scooter away with a handful of ice in her hands that was from the ground. He said, well, not really ice, just barad. So it's very biblical, eh? Barad is one of the curses from the Torah. It means hail, and that's what it was. So that was my experience with the winter here this year. It seems colder than it was last year, and everybody told me I would feel it more, and I guess I am. My son tells me that my memory is going because I don't really remember what cold is unless you're in Toronto. He may be right. So this week's Parsha is Parsha TETZAVEH. We're now into the minutiae of the Mishkan. You have to think of the Mishkan as a different place, really kind of like a different zone. You know, when the astronauts go up into space, they go up into a place that is gravity-free, and it's a whole different world, the way it affects their bodies and everything. And so it was with the Mishkan. You know, our laws, the Jewish laws, the 613 mitzvahs, the Shulchan Aruch, the Code of Jewish Law, the Talmud, the Oral Torah, filled with things in which you should do, you must do, and you're forbidden to do. But the truth of the matter is, in the world in which we live, there's a great deal in between. Let's take Pesach. Pesach is a very serious holiday, Passover, right? On the first day of Pesach, you must eat matzah. On the first 2 days, if you're not living in Israel, on the first day, if you are. But there's another commandment. You must not eat leavened products, bread. So you must eat matzah, but you must not eat bread. But it doesn't say anything about, say, ice cream. Are we commanded to eat ice cream? Are we prohibited from eating ice cream? And so it is, most of the world is in between. Not what you have to do, and not what you're prohibited from doing, but that gray area in between takes up most of the space in our lives. This wasn't true in the Mishkan. In the Mishkan, there were no in-between places. There were commands for everything, and everything had to be done exactly as it was set out to be. And that's part of the lesson of the details of the Mishkan. It's really about this parsha is about the Kohanim. Moshe isn't mentioned by name, but he is spoken to at the very beginning of the parsha as to what he is to do with his brother Aaron and his nephews, to make them Kohanim, to make them minister to Hashem and the requirements. And it begins with the shemen, with the oil, and how the oil should be used and produced in its purity. And the parsha ends with something very strange. After talking about all the vestments, all the clothing of the Kohen Gadol, the turban, the golden headpiece that he wears, the ephod on his chest, and also how the non-Kohen Gadolim, the rest of the Kohanim, will be dressed. All of those issues, each one in great detail. At the end, it talks about what Aaron will do ministering to Hashem for the people. And then suddenly it talks about Yom Kippur at the end. What he does when he enters the Holy of Holies on that special day to make atonement. It really is out of the blue. And why? Well, I think one element of it is it bookends the Parsha, which begins with the holy oil, which is really for Aaron, and ends with Yom Kippur, which is again really for Aaron. And everything in between is the details of the life of the Kohen Gadol and those that support and work with him. There's an interesting note that I wanted to add. There really seem to be three major positions. There's the Kohen Gadol himself. There's the his assistant, should he not be able to do the job of the Kohen Gadol. And then there's the Kohen of war, Milchama. We're told that the Kohen Gadol's son, if he is of the same quality as his father, should serve as the Kohen Gadol. And so we see that Aaron's sons are inaugurated. It's an inherited position. This is not true of the Kohen of war, although many of his duties there are a lot of similarities. Why is it? Because his job is to bless the people and to inspire them at a time of great danger. And not everybody has the skill set to do it. And so it would seem that it was chosen that in this case, Pinchas had this role, that the individual who was chosen to bless the troops before battle and who is to speak to them about their mission had to be somebody who could inspire them, right, and understand what their mission was. And this was not an inherited position. This was an awarded position to a specific individual. It tells us that there are two different qualities in these two jobs. One is a pure channel. In a sense, the Kohen Gadol needs not to communicate with the people. He needs to serve them. It's very important that their tshuva will come through him. But this is actually a quiet and spiritual quality. Finally, what we learn about the Kohanim is that they have to, especially the Kohen Gadol, right, wears great clothes, and he has to be a very attractive person. Seem shallow. I think that it's only shallow if you think that these outer qualities stand separate from his inner qualities. But in fact, that's the whole point, is that his internal mechanism matches the clothes that he's able to wear. Now, God sees the internal, but the people will only see the Kohen Gadol blessing them. Maybe his family might see otherwise, but he doesn't have to dress well for them. So in his role with the people, it's very important that he glow as much outside as he does inside. And speaking about glowing, you see how the lemons are doing behind me? They continue. We picked our first one this week. It is delicious. I want to wish you a very holy Shabbos, the Shabbos of the details of the Mishkan and the Kohanim. We are, in fact, a nation of priests, as we know. We all have a little piece of the Kohanim in us. I want to wish you a peaceful time, a holy time, a time of spiritual growth. David Ostriker in chilly Karmi'El. Shabbat Shalom.